faces, worn out places.
Has this ever happened to you before? You're cramming for finals and totally freaking out when you realize that you can't write a compound or complex sentence for your life. Well, we can help end this madness.
First, we'll take a look at the structure of compound sentences. In our first example, you'll notice we begin with an independent clause, followed by a comma, then a coordinated conjunction, also known as a fanboy, followed by another independent clause. Our second example begins with an independent clause, followed by a semicolon, followed by an additional independent clause. For our last example, we have an independent clause, followed by a semicolon, followed by a coordinating adverb such as however, therefore, moreover, consequently, and more, followed by another independent clause.
An example of an independent clause, comma, coordinating conjunction, and another independent clause is, I should be studying for finals, comma, but we are making this video. An example of an independent clause plus a semicolon plus another independent clause is, Susie decided she didn't want to study for finals, semicolon, she ate food instead. An example of an independent clause plus a semicolon, conjunctive adverb, comma, an independent clause is, little Billy wanted to go home and cry himself to sleep, semicolon, however, comma, he needed his exemptions. There are also complex sentences, which are formed by joining an independent clause, subordinating conjunction, and dependent clause. One type of complex sentence is an independent clause, followed by a subordinating conjunction such as because or since, and then a dependent clause. The other type of complex sentence is a subordinating conjunction such as while or when, followed by a dependent clause and then an independent clause with a comma in between. An example of an independent clause, subordinating conjunction, and then dependent clause is, Molly went to sleep because she just didn't care anymore. An example of a subordinating conjunction and dependent clause followed by a comma and independent clause is, though Alfred was tired, comma, he kept studying. Here are some hand signals you can use to help you remember the sentence structures. An independent clause plus a coordinating conjunction plus an independent clause equals I, see, comma, I. An independent clause, semicolon, and independent clause equals I, semicolon, I. An independent clause, semicolon, conjunctive adverb, comma, an independent clause equals I, semicolon, see, comma, I. An independent clause plus a subordinating conjunction and dependent clause equals I, S, D. A subordinating conjunction and dependent clause followed by a comma and independent clause equals S, D, comma, I.